We're going to take a look at solving number 29 in section 3.5. One of the first things we want to do is get rid of this fraction. We're going to be pretty creative with what we multiply both sides by to help us get to our answer. We'll end up multiplying both sides by 3 times 2 to the x. This will help us get rid of that 3 in the denominator. And it'll also help us with our exponents. So this 3 and that 3 divide out. When we distribute this 2 to the x to both of these, we will end up with 2 to the x. When you multiply like bases, you add exponents. Now, this other one, let's go off to the side and look at it. This minus 2 to the negative x. If we're going to multiply it times by 2 to the x power, we can put this over 1. We can move this to the denominator, and we end up with 2 to the x times negative 1 over 2 to the x. And when we do that, these divide out, which leaves us with a negative 1. And then over here, we'll multiply the 4 and the 3 together, and we'll get 12. And then 2 to the x, we can't multiply with that, so we'll leave it alone. I'm going to bring everything over to the left side, and we're going to have 2 to the x squared, and I'm going to write minus 12 times 2 to the x, and then minus 1 equals 0. Now we're going to have to be pretty creative rewriting this thing so we can use U substitution. We can write it as 2 to the x squared minus 12 times 2 to the x minus 1 equals 0. We can let u equal 2 to the x power, and then we can substitute u in, so we get u squared minus 12 times u minus 1 equals 0. And that looks like a quadratic equation. We can use the quadratic formula. That is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so in this case, we'll have a negative, and then b is negative 12. I always substitute these things in with parentheses to help me keep up with my signs. And so we end up with negative 12 squared minus 4 times a, which is this 1, times c, which is this negative 1, all over 2 times 1. So we get 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 plus 4 over 2. And so we get 12 plus or minus the square root of 148 over 2. And then the square root of 148, if we use prime factorization to help us do this, we can divide it by 2 because it's an even number. We get 74. We divide that by 2, and we'll get 37. 37 is a prime number, so we divide it by itself and we get 1. So we got 2's, and so we end up with 12 plus or minus 2 square root of 37 over 2. Now we can divide all of these by 2, and we end up with 6. So we get 6 plus or minus the square root of 37. Now we got to go back and remember, what does that equal? That equals u equals 2 to the x power. So what we really have is 2 to the x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 37. Now we'll need to take the ln of both sides. Now, using our power rule, we can bring the x out in front of the ln. And remember, ln of 2, it's really just a number. And so just like in any case, when we have a number and a variable, a constant and a variable, we can divide by the part we don't want. And that would be approximately 3.5949. And I hope this helps you.